Right, guys, girls, Johnny, Mr. Forex Fire. So back at the usual time of resetting our fire zones. So we're going to take a look at how things have more or less performed last week, uh, and then I'm going to jump on and start resetting the zones. We have had quite a few of the zones trigger this week, so this one will be a little bit of a lengthy one. So I'm going to pause and record as I run through some things. Okay. So as always, let's go and check inside of the Discord to see what has happened during last week. Okay, so as we do, we put in the new week, new goals. We've had triggers on the GBP, GPY. We've had a 0.95. We had a 1% on the GBP odd. We had the GBP card violation setup come up. So when we get a violation through a zone, we look for a pattern as it breaks through. This is the pattern. That would have been the pattern we were waiting for going through on the last point of true mitigation. A basic head and shoulders pattern. And then if we violate the LPOTM, which is the last point of true mitigation, we look for a continuation drive to the downside. That came in and it gave a nice 2.15 and a 0.82, which I need to add on this, so plus a 0.82. So and that is on top of a 5.12 overall. So there's 5.94 altogether, and there was a 1.02 here. Okay, so altogether, last week there was 5.94. There was a couple that lost off, I do believe. So I've just run through these. There was a 1% there when a euro odd. We didn't quite get the entry there, so I'll minus that one off. GBP cards. Take a look. That gave some profits. USD card. See what happened on here. Yes, it gave a little bit of profit. GBP USD. That one gave profit there of a 0.95. You can see it tapped and tapped. GBP odd we know gave profit. We can see here, tapped in here and they got in there. We go to the USD JPY. I think this may have tapped out. Yeah, we had an entry, but we didn't quite get the touch into the 15-minute. It's still ongoing, that one, to be fair. So I can't add anything on that. The CAD JPY, we had a tap in, but we didn't quite go to the first TP. So I got minus one off that as well. So 3.94% growth, which is good. Not a huge amount. Let's have a look. We'll get this correct. And then we'll go in to reset the zones. So 3.94. We'll get this on here. I mean, obviously, I need to take an annotation of that. And the other one that lost, where was it? That one, GU. That one lost, so I need an annotation of that as well. So we'll just download those. We'll come into the results. GBP USD. No targets. -1. Just update that on here. So have these done? Yeah, they have GBP USD. And it was CAD JPY. No target hit. So again, that one would have been a -1. So overall, we had a profit for this week of 3.94. 3.94, which is still a good week, 3.94% in profits on what was shared. Okay, going into the fire session stuff, which is in itself a separate sort of system. It's a session-based time allowance window. So we can add these up. We had 2%, 2%, 2%, that's 6. -1, that's 5. So 5% on that. We'll update that. And we'll put in our 5. So 5% on the running total. This is the running total here. This is a phenomenal system, this one, to be fair. So we're just going to paste that there. So we're just going to update 5% from this week. Total from the 17th of March, which was over several months ago. 5% on 122 is now 127th growth. We've got that. Copy the text. And we put this in here. So just bear with me a minute, guys, because I've got a message up on here. So again, just for privacy, I'm just going to pause the video a minute. Right, so now we've got this bit done. Okay, we are going to head into this area. We do normally have 11 tradable assets in the list on the fire zones. So we're going to go through these one by one and we're going to reset these, okay? So let's just go and take a look. We'll come into, so this is going to give you an overview on how I look at things. Right, so basically we're just going to reset the whole lot. So we've got the GBP odd, okay? So I'm going to look at where liquidity is and what we could sort of look at and then talk you through it. So we've got a zone here where we expanded up and then we've expanded down, which in turn broke this consolidated zone. So between the top of this leg down to this leg, we need to see where the liquidity lays, okay? So again, we're just going to draw and get rid of all these. And I think if we check from where we are at the minute up to this one here, I think this one will be a valid area for a bear zone, to be fair, okay? Because we're looking for higher highs and then down to lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We could get a lower low come up into here, but will it actually come up and tag into this before going down to make a new lower low down here? We'll have to wait and see on that bit. So I'm going to use this as a potential bear zone. Okay, that's just my thinking on this. So I'm just going to say, right, that's our 4-hour bear zone, and we'll stick that to the right. Okay, so that's the draw liquidity up there. We also have on that draw of liquidity, fair value gap, fair value gap. This would be the LPOTM, which is last point of true mitigation for sellers. Once we break through that, it will become a violation, and then we'll be looking for people to buy, and then the buyers would end up coming up into this settlement. So again, what you're basically looking at, the drive from here down to here, Okay, as the high down to the low. This is around about the 50% equilibrium as well. So price could retrace up into this. When we look to the left, okay, I'm just going to stick this line on here at the minute. And I'm just going to measure where we are here. It's about 100 and odd pips to be fair. So again, that's the liquidity low. We're just going to see what's over on here. This area here where we've consolidated a tiny amount. We do have fair value between here, and then we've got price down to the bottom. I'm just going to go into that area there, come back over here, and I'm going to sort of measure the pippage. So we're about 200 pips to here. We're about, see, 84 pips to there. I think I'm going to be inclined to come into this area here, to be fair. So again, I'm going to come over to here, going to take a look at that there, get rid of this. I want to cover that area there, to be honest. We'll get rid of this as well, because that's the bottom. Okay, we're just going to add this over to here. This would become our bull zone. Okay, so we've identified structure. We've identified roundabout where we know we've got draw on liquidity up here with fair value. So these will be our zones. And what I'll do is I'll do the zone, I'll do the complete system, I'll do the alert, and I'll also do the change of the zones on. So we'll go through that rather than do the whole thing on zones first. So what we do next is we generally go into the fire zones area. Okay, we'll go into the 4 hour. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for the GBP odd. And I do this on a week-to-week basis. So there's the GBP odd. So I want to get the notation of where the zones are. So I'm just going to copy that. And then what I do generally do, I'll paste this into here, right? So as we're changing the system, we're going to go from the bull zone bottom. We're going to copy the price. We'll come into this. And we're just going to say, right, that's the bull zone bottom. That's the bull zone top. Okay. Then we go to the bear zone. Paste. And then we go to the bear zone top. Okay. So I'm just going to copy the price. So that's the zones set for this. Okay, so however, we do have to do an annotation, and we also need to go into our alerts system. Okay, and I need to look for a 4 hour buy and sell. So 4 hour buy and a 4 hour sell. Okay, so I'm just going to put these up here. And what that does is I can come into the message, okay, the messages on both sides. And I need to get the notation of these areas, because when I go to here and I say, right, we're going to set an alert, okay? I'm going to go to the notifications, going to go to webhook. I need to get the webhook of that. Okay, I need to paste it in there. That's the wrong thing. Notification. Need to copy that. Need to go to the webhook. Paste it into there because I made that by mistake. Paste it into here. Okay, go into message now. So we are looking for a buy from this area. So this is the possible buy. And what we're doing is we're just going to grab a hold of that. Just going to paste that. I'm just going to copy and add it into there. Okay, so that's that one there. And then we need to go into a cell. So again, we're coming into here. We're going to add an alert notification. We do have the Discord thing there. So I'm going to go back into the message and I'm going to take this, copy, paste. I need to change that to GBP odd. GBP odd. So that's the GBP odd saved on there. And then again, we're looking for the possible sell from here. So again, GBP odd, we're getting that there. Copy, copy, copy. Paste this into here. We're going to create that. Okay, so what we're doing from there, we're going into the 4-hour zones. We're going into the system here. We're going to upload that annotated file. That's a GBP odd. We're going to update that. We're going to put this into here. So then that means I can get rid of that GBP odd. That's the old one. Okay, we've got the new one here now. Okay, so we'll just do this, and we add that. Right, so we go back into the system, guys. Pull this up to the GBP odds. We're now going to look at the GBP, JPY, and again, we're just going to reset the whole lot. Get rid of the alert that's on here. We're going to take a look on the liquidity side of things on here, but first of all, it means we need to go back into the system here, and we need to look for the GBP, JPY. So we're going to be resetting this one. Okay, so we've got that there. Now we're going to look on the liquidity side. So what do we see within this area? Well, there's a gap right there. Okay, we do have a draw liquidity on the gap. At the moment as well, we do have double bottoms here. Above price where we are at the minute, we've got an area here. So we're starting to sort of like coming into a wedge format. So I do have interest on this bit here. We'll measure where we are from here up to there. So we're at 140 odd pips. I'd probably be inclined to do it from this tipping top here. So what I'm looking at now, I understand liquidity is all based around this area. If we come down and break through this bottom low here, we are going to more or less touch into here, which means we will more or less touch into here. Couple of hundred pips above here. If we do come back up and wedge through this, we might get a reaction point from there. Okay, so that's my thought on this one. So I'm just going to draw out my area here. We didn't quite tap into it here. So again, what we'll do is we'll make that our bear zone. And we understand the liquidity is down here, so I'm going to make this area down here the bull zone. Okay, so we'll just update that. 4-hour bull zone, make that over to the right. And then what we can do, we can make our screen grab. And then we're basically just going to change the bull and bear zones. So again, we're copying the price. And we just rinse and repeat. So that's the bull zone. Bottom of the bear zone. Top of the bear zone. Okay. So again, we are now going to get the notification for a buy. Okay, we're going to come in. We've got the setup for the web alert. So again, we're going to get for the buy. We're just going to copy this here, which is a JSON message. Okay, and the JSON is just a code or a script to say when this happens, then you need to do that. So again, this is GBP, JPY. So we're waiting for the buy, and we're doing that, and we're just going to click create. And then again, we're going to add an alert here, and then you guessed it, we're just using the copied on this. And we're going to see it, right, when this comes into here, this is the GBP, JPY, possible sell. Okay, so we'll grab that. We'll put it up into here. And again, we'll just create that. We're coming into this message here. I'm just going to check that one over again. So I just want to make sure GBP, JPY. Yeah, so we've got that. We've got that. Come back in here. And then what we can do then is we can drop that annotation or screenshot that we've done with that there. And as much as this is time consuming, guys, trust me, you want to do this because you want price to come to you. You set your zones of where you expect price to go to. And as you can see from what we do with the results, you can see week in, week out, we are very consistent with this, to be fair. Okay, so we now move on to the next. We take a look, we get rid of that. I can put this up into the system. So the GBP USD, again, we're just going to reset it. Let's take a look at where the liquidity is within this. Okay, so we're being pretty much on a downward momentum. Okay, we'll just move this over to the left. I'm going to put where price is at the minute and look over to the left on here. I'm going to take a little look into this system here. So the drawn liquidity here, we're coming into a pullback area at the moment. Okay, so there could be a bit of a zone at this point here. But going from the leg to the leg, we can see inefficiency. There's some inefficiency here. That's about all the inefficiency there is at the minute. So I'll probably be happy. Bit of a tough one. Let's see what the price is from where price is down to here. It's a good 300 and odd pips. Right, so price from here down to here. See what that is. 69 pips. All right, so I might do 50% of this little pullback leg down to here, to be fair. Because if we do get a violation, we're coming down to this area here anyway. So I'm going to use that there as our bull zone, okay? Because again, this is a pullback, okay? This is a pullback. It is part of an order block liquidity down on a lower time frame. So I do believe this area could be a good area for a bounce off. Okay, so we'll just pull this out. We're quite close to it as well, to be fair. See what I mean? We are really close to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to minimize this a bit more. Measure that out. 60 odd pips. So we're going to class this as our bull zone. Okay, that'll be our bull zone. We'll move that over to the right. Now, where is the drawn liquidity to the buy side? So we've got liquidity here. We've got liquidity down here. And we've got it there. Okay. Inside of where we are up on the top end, we've got fair value gap. We've got fair value gap here. So I'm just going to measure price from the bottom here up to the top, 200 odd pips. I'm happy with this bit here, to be fair. So we'll just get rid of these. measure the gap on here. Okay, 40 on pips, pretty tight. So if we do break through this level, okay, we understand that the draw on liquidity then will be these sort of areas here. So we'll see what happens with that. So like I say, guys, you have to run through all these things. You need to look to see where your liquidity is. So we're just going to come in here, bear zone, and move that over to the right. We could get a quick tap in on this, to be fair, on the new week. Okay, so I'm just going to take, like I say, the annotation on that. I need to get rid of that. I need to come back in here. I need the GBP and get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that one there. We'll get rid of that because that's stopped as well. That one stopped. That one stopped. That one stopped. That one stopped. These are ones I triggered off last week, to be fair. Right, so I need a buy point, so I need a buy and I need a sell. Okay, so we'll just put these up here. We take the annotation? Did we take the annotation? I don't think we did. So we're looking for GBP USD this time. GBP USD. I'm going into this. I'm going to copy, paste it into there. Okay. Upload GBP USD. Yes, we've got that, but we need to set the alerts now as well. So we're going to add the alert. Again, we do have the notification for the webhook. So this is going to be for the buy. Okay, so we're just going to come into this, get the JSON, copy. I'll make this the last one, and then what I'll do is I will pause the video and we'll wait until we come to the last bits. Just I only do this so just so you can see the process that I'm going through on a week-to-week basis, to be fair. So paste that into there, and we know that that is an alert. We then need to do it for the sell. So we're going to do this. I need to copy the zones as well, remember. So again, we're going into this and we're looking for the sell. So going into message, sell, and again, we've got to make sure we see it, GBP, USD. GBP, USD, and then we need to get the bull zone. Copy the price. Top of the bull zone. Copy the price. Bear zone. Copy the price. Top of the bear zone. Copy the price. So we know that that one's now set up. Okay. We can get rid of that. GBP USD. We come down and I'm just going to add this into here. Okay. And again, we can come into this here, get rid of that and put this in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to pause the video for a bit, guys. I'll come back in when we're on the final two. Okay, so again, I'll run through where we are liquidity-wise on the final two. Be back in a second. Right, okay, guys. So we're basically down to the final two, the USD, JPY. and the CAD JPY. Okay, so again, we're just going to reset everything. Let's have a look and see where the draw on liquidity is. This is where we are at the minute. We've got fair value. We've got a gap down here, or I should say an order block, because we've got higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So straight away, that there is what I'm looking at for a bull zone. Okay, without a shadow of a doubt. Very, very simple, very, very basic. I'm just going to put this over to here. I'm just going to put where price is or where it's residing at the minute. I'm going to look over to the left. Let's just take a look. So we are trying to get to this here. We do have fair value within this area. So again, I'm just going to go at the last point of true mitigation, which will be this point up here. And I'm going to factor in that there. So that's where I'm going to say we're going to be looking for a possible reversal. Again, we might spike through this and get a violation set up, to be fair. Let's just push through. Yeah. So that'll be my last point of true mitigation for a potential bear zone. Okay, so again, we just do that. Just get an annotation of that. Need to go to the USD JPY. Okay, like I said, we'll copy the last known entities for these zones. Okay, again, we'll get that annotation because I can't remember whether I done it. And we're just going to copy over. We're going to copy over the zones. Okay, so we're just going to right click, copy price. And again, we're starting from the bull zone. So that's the bottom of the bull zone to the top of the bull zone. And this is so very, very effective system doing this. I've got a high level of consistency in it myself, to be fair. I'm not going chasing price. I'm not looking at scanners to get in on trades. I know that this is basically the last point of where true mitigation could be for it to be either a buy or a sell, depending on what zone you're going into. Okay, so we're just going to upload that file we've just downloaded. We're going to put it into there, and then it's a case of setting a trigger point for the buy. Okay, again, just getting that JSON. We'll copy that. We update that into there, and we'll just say the USD JPY. Okay, and we know that that will be a possible buy point. So again, when that message triggers, it uses this JSON message to then set the alert name and put it into my Discord for everybody. So we're going to create that, and then we're going to create the same for the sell. We're just going to grab that JSON. It's a coded message, like I say, guys, to link it into the Discord. And I'll show you that as well in a minute. So when it triggers off, okay, what you're going to see in the Discord, you're going to get this message comes up. So if I just do that, it basically comes into the zone alerts here, and you'll see here a possible buy or a sell. So I need to reset these as well. So we'll just reset all these for the week. And as you can see, that's what we're doing. And I will get, there was several came in this week. We'll just delete them off. So that's going to refresh this week coming up. Okay, we'll come back into the 4-hour zones. We've got this set up here. We had that, we've got it all done. So now I can just see it right. We'll post that. That was the USD JPY. So that means I can get rid of that one there. Okay, that leaves the CAD JPY. So that's the euro. That's the wrong one. It's that one that we need. So I'm updating the CAD JPY now. Okay, So we'll come into this. I can get rid of that and put this up into here. And then say, right, the CAD JPY, let's reset the whole thing off. So instantly I can see high highs, high lows, higher highs. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this here an area straight away. There's no questions about it. That is going to be my bull zone. Okay. And then I'm just going to put the liquidity line on the top of here. And I'm going to look to the left. Okay. Because if we're going to continue with a bullish momentum, we want to see where the next areas is above here. So we can see we're testing this liquidity area here at the minute. What can we see within this liquidity line setup? Well, I want to go a little bit higher than that, so I'm basically going to include on this the top of here, right the way down to the body of these. Okay, so that's a proper order block there. So I'm just going to get rid of this. We'll get this pulled along. And it was May of this year since price has been right the way up here. Will it go and tag that? We'll have to wait and see. So again, we're just going to say, right, we now know that this is a potential bear zone. We'll move the analytic notation over to here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab the image, okay? And then I just need to rinse and repeat what we've been doing from the beginning, which is get the bull zone. Okay, we're going to copy that price. That's the bull zone. Copy, and you can see hey, the bull zone's moved up. So it's been very bullish, the CAD JPY. And then we're going to go to this here. That's the wrong one. We need to come into here. It's a copy price, not an alert. So you're copying the price 110,953. And then we'll go into 111. Okay, so we've got the annotation. What we need now is the alerts. We'll add an alert, come into the message, and again, we'll just copy the JSON. And then we need to change that CAD JPY. And that is us just about done. We're going to look through the levels as well in a moment. Okay, we're going to look through the levels in a moment, and we're going to see where we are. So again, possible sell point. Come into that message there. So CAD JPY. Possible sell. Come into that. We'll update that. We come into this. We can add to the CAD JPY annotation. Okay, we'll do that. We can get rid of this old one. Now we should have 11. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've got 11 set up there. And we can change that over into here. The CAD Swiss franc, which was on the monthly, just get rid of these. This is still in a trade, okay? So I've got to keep this active. This one is still active. It's done a 1.02%. The next target's at 218. So that's on a monthly swing. So we've got all the zones set. So let's have a little look through, okay? We'll make sure every single setup has 2 alert lines as well, okay? So that's the CAD JPY. The odd euro odds, the euro cards, the euro USD, the Euro GBP. We don't have an alert up on here, so the Euro GBP, this triggered from last week, so I must have missed that, to be fair. Let's take a look at this. We'll delete that. So the Euro GBP, we're going to put in that there. So this is why I go back over things, to be fair, in case I've missed anything. Okay, so we're going to do over here. We're just going to say that that is our bear zone. Okay, to the right. Okay. I also need to get an annotation. I need to go into the Euro GBP. I need to rebalance this one. Make sure this will be a case of getting that. We're going to get this, copy it. Okay, and it's the bear zone that we've updated, so we're just going to get that, copy the price. Update that. Copy the price. Update that. It'll come in here. We'll get that Euro GBP. Okay, we also need to go into here. We need to get a possible sell point. Need to message. I need to do the sell. So add the alert. And you can see the quickness I can do this in now, because I've done it for that many months now. I'm pretty quick at it. So Euro GBP. It was a possible sell. We'll create that. We'll get rid of that. That's now created the update for that. We put that into there. We're going to get rid of that one. Okay, and that has been updated to here. So again, we just need to put our emojis in. And then we're going to repeat and go through the rest of the zones just to make sure we've got everything reset. So the Euro GBP, see we've got two alert lines. Yeah, two alert lines, GBP cards, two alert lines, GBP, GPY. We've got two alert lines, GBP, USD, two alert lines, USD cards. Yeah, USD, GPY. Yeah, and then we're going to go into the daily. Right, so we haven't got the daily buy points, so 50% is the area. Okay, so I need to go into this and find the daily buy. Right, so the daily possible buy, again, we're just going to get the message there. Notification set up. This is the odd Swiss franc. There's no need to do an annotation because we've got it set up. Okay, we've got the annotation okay on that. So the GBP NZD, we need to do our zones. In fact, if I go back into this and I go into that, it's an open-ended alert, so that's what I need to see. So I need to do the zones on this as well. So we'll add the alert. This was on the buy. Okay, so again, we need to go to the message. Click this. This is the GBP NZD. Create that. 50% when we're going into these higher time frames. So now we're looking for the sell, the daily sell, daily possible sell. So again, we'll come into this, go to message. we're going into that, so we'll do this. And we're seeing GBP NZD as a possible sell. So update that. And we've got this updated. So now we're going to come and check the NZD JPY. We've got two alerts. USD Swiss franc. We've got two alerts as well. We're going up into the weekly now. Odd card. We've got our alerts. Odd USD. We're missing our alerts. So I need the weekly for a weekly buy and sell. Let's have a look at this. So this is on the odd USD. Is it the audio? Right. Odd USD. Edit. I just need to put on open-ended, I think it is. Expiration. Open-ended, set and expired. So that should come up into this. Yeah. Right. And then the buy, I should, because I had an expiration date on these. So they should just save straight into here. Yes, fantastic. Right, so then Chef JPY, we've got the daily, so Chef JPY. If we look for the Chef JPY, inactive Chef JPY. Come into here, let's go open-ended. That should set this in here. I only have one setup on here because this is an all-time high, to be fair. Right, so Euro NZD. Right, so we're missing these. So we'll go back into here, Euro NZD. Change this to open-ended, set, save, unexpired. And then I need to do this, set, save, unexpired. That should put one on here. Fantastic. Right, and again, we are now GBP Swiss franc. We've got them messed up on here. So again, open-ended alert. I must have had these on expiration dates. Open-ended. So that's we're now going to go into the monthly. Yeah. So we're looking at odd NZD. Open-ended. That should highlight one of these. This should do the other open-ended. Save that. And then we're going to be going into NZD card. Yeah, once again. So we're going to go, like I said, make sure you don't have an expiry time on your setup, especially on these monthlies, because it can take them weeks. Could take them weeks before they get an alert. So on the expiration dates, they'll probably go out of date before you know it. So go back into here. We're looking at the NZD USD. Again, we need to update that one, NZD USD. So open-ended alert. And then the same on that one. Fantastic. And then we've got the CAD Swiss franc. Which ones is? So that had triggered. We don't need that one because it triggered. Let's have a look at this. We've got the alert set on that. Euro GBP. We've got the alerts set on that. And we should have the alerts set on that. Yeah. Can't switch all. Right. So the can't switch franc were in a trade, so I can't reset that. So if we go to the alerts, we'll go to this. And if we go to all. Right, so that's better. So that's everything set, guys. That's all of our zones reset. Again, like I say, if you're watching this and you want to come into the Discord, just reach out to me because I know I post what I do on the reset. I don't go in depth on what the strategy is when I do the zone resets. I just put this out on there on YouTube for people to watch so they can see what I do on a week-to-week basis. Another good week, profitable week. Okay, so that is it for the zone resets this week. I'll see you on the next one.